everyone, so hopefully you can't hear my neighbour's super annoying dog that barks 24/7. The dog that sometimes they leave locked outside, but they've stopped leaving it locked outside and it just barks a lot. I know it's probably a traumatised dog, but the barking, it drives me to insanity. But yeah, I wanted to chat to you today about makeup tips for oily skin. Now I've touched on this before, but I think I've got a few other tips that I've been trying, and it's something that I really struggle with. I've got incredibly oily skin, always have, and if you have oily skin you will know that it sucks for many reasons. Reasons like your makeup doesn't stay on very well, reasons like you're constantly having to blot and repowder, and powder looks cakey and not very pretty. You find that if you don't blot then it just breaks down all your makeup, and it's just a constant maintenance thing that you have to always worry about, which is very annoying and very kind of can be very kind of time consuming as well when you just want to get on with your day like a normal person. But I've got a few tips that I use. They're not foolproof. There is no way that you make your skin completely stop being oily, and it's just something that is how your skin is. A lot of people say that it's diet related. I don't think that that's true at all. Some people say that it's to do with skincare, and I am going to do a video about skincare for oily skin as well as a follow up for this, so look out for that. But in this video I'm just going to talk about a couple of makeup things that I have tried. Now, one of the main things is your gut instinct is to go for anything that says matte, so mattifying primers, mattifying foundations. A car just drove past. Shall I fix my hair a little bit? Is it a little bit like all over? I kind of curled it, but it's so hot and humid today that I think it's not playing ball, but whatever, that's okay. Yeah, that's your instinct, so to wear things like Estee Lauder Double Wear, mattifying foundations, mattifying primers. Now I am on board with this to a point, but I do tend to find that mattifying foundations just tend to be a little bit cakey, not tend to be the look that I want. So you have to play around with it. Now there are a lot of base products that I absolutely love the finish of, but I know that my skin is just way too oily for them. A few examples would be, this is one that I actually do wear very often, but when it's really hot, my skin can't cope, it's got too much moisture in it, and that's the Bourjois CC cream. I love that, but my skin's an oil slick pretty quickly. When it gets really warm and humid, it just doesn't play ball very well. Another one is the Clarins True Radiance Foundation. Love how that looks, but again, kind of the name's in the radiance. Radiance means dewy. If you have oily skin, dewy very often means oily. Another great example of a foundation that I love but just isn't good in terms of oil for me is the L'Oreal, not the nude, is it Nude Magique? No, that's the shaky one. The something Magique. It's similar to the NARS Sheer Glow. That does last better on me, but just an oil slick within minutes. And I have got very greasy skin, so that doesn't work for me. But I tend to go for things that I like the sound of, and then just try and kind of incorporate other products to get them to work. Now if I want my makeup to last, I know I'm not going to use something that's just a little bit dewy, but on an everyday, day-to-day basis, like for example today I'm wearing the e.l.f. Serum Foundation. It works fine, and it looks natural, and I can control the oil and it won't break down too badly, and it doesn't feel too heavy on my skin. But I do tend to think that if you're somebody who wants their makeup to stay put and minimal blotting, then things like Revlon Colour Stay work very well at oil control. Estee Lauder Double Wear Light, I prefer Double Wear Light to the original Double Wear, and that kind of product. But again, in the summer, that's something I would stay clear of. I wouldn't wear anything like Revlon Colour Stay in the summer. In the winter, I totally go for that. But in the summer, I feel like it's just too much. And that is something to bear in mind, because you're hot and you get a bit sweaty and everything, and then it'll just come off anyway. So that is something to bear in mind. Now, in terms of mattifying base products, I think this is an area where a lot of cosmetics companies could improve, because you have a lot of primers and things that are geared at filling in your pores, making your makeup adhere better to your skin, all that good stuff. But there aren't tons of products, I don't feel, that are geared towards really good oil control. Now, I know a lot of people are into that whole like milk of magnesium type of thing. I personally don't think that's particularly safe to do on your skin, but it's totally up to you. I have been using this, and this is the Freedom Pro Studio Oil Control Base Anti-Shine Lotion before my makeup. It's a nice light gel texture, just gets rid of any shine that's left over from your moisturiser or sunscreen, because I know a lot of people, this is more to do with like the skincare element of it, but will skip moisturiser. I always wear sunscreen. I'll try and make sure they're as matte and as oil free as possible, but you still get a bit of a kind of, you know, something is on your skin basically. So I will use this to kind of get rid of that and start my face with no oil, and I find that that works quite well, and it's really affordable, so that's definitely one to look into. Then the only other tips that I've got is, let's talk about powder for a second. This has been my go-to powder recently, and I do find this is very good at oil control. This is the Lottie London Ready to Go Matte Translucent Finishing Powder. It's a translucent powder, as you can see. I apply this with a damp beauty blender, really press it into my skin, and then if I find like it's a little bit excessive looking, I will just dust off a little bit with a big puffy brush. Works really well at controlling oil for that little bit longer, but I definitely, if I put my makeup on at say like 8 o'clock in the morning, by probably about 12, 1 o'clock I need to blot. That's just how my skin is. So speaking of blotting, these are my two faves. This is the one I'm using at the moment. This is the Dhc Oil Balancing Paper. Now, for those of you who don't know what blotting paper is, because it's not the most commonly known product, to be fair, they're just these little sheets like this of blotting paper. You can get them powdered or without. I always recommend the ones that are not powdered, because the ones that are powdered, the powder that they have on them is very chalky and not very nice. So you can just pull one of these out, and let me show you. These are the Dhc ones. So it just looks like that, and then you would press it onto areas that you're oily. So that forehead bit, T-zone area, I always get very oily kind of in the centre, nose, and that's it. Now I'm not crazy oily now because I haven't had my makeup on for that long, but you can see, ew, how gross is that? That's all the oil from your face. Doesn't disrupt your makeup, but does help to mattify things, and if you keep doing that throughout the day, you won't necessarily have to keep adding powder, which is a really good thing because powder sucks. So I like those, but I really like the Essence Oil Control papers. They're my favourite. They're £2.50. I always buy them in bulk. They look like that. Always have them in my handbag and blot throughout the day, and I love them. So definitely a must have if you have oily skin. If you have oily skin and you haven't discovered blotting papers, you need to get on that bandwagon because they're life changing. And then for powder, I do tend to have to powder at some point throughout the day. I'll try and prolong it for as long as possible, but I do need it after a little while. My go-to is the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. This is in the shade Silky Beige. I've already hit pan, and I'll carry this with this little kabuki brush. This is a MAC 182 in my powder, and just kind of pop it on my face. I'll show you what I do. I tend to use a small amount, so I'll get it all into the brush, get rid of any excess, and then just tap it in to the areas where I would get shiny, or already am shiny after I've blotted. Throughout the day, just keep doing that a couple of times a day. It does, you know, add a bit of a powdery cakiness, but there's not much you can do about that. I know a lot of people are really into setting sprays and find that they help. I've used all the setting sprays that claim to be great for oily skin, the Urban Decay ones, the Freedom Oil Control one, what other ones have I used? I've used loads of different ones. I find they make me more oily. That's just my opinion on it. I know some of you might not feel like that, but for me, I definitely feel that they make me more oily, and it's just not something that works particularly well for me. Sorry, I'm like moving on the chair. So yeah, those are my tips concerning makeup and oily skin. Let me know your tips down below, and as I said, I will do a video about skincare for oily skin as well, and tips and tricks that I've used, because it's something that kind of occupies a lot of my time dealing with my oily face. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Bye!